Hello folks, my name is Dave Ellison and I'm a Glastonbury firefighter. I'm here tonight because I would like to speak to you guys about the process of becoming a firefighter, and there are just 5 simple steps in becoming that firefighter. The first step is you must meet the age requirements, have a valid driver's license, a high school education or a GED. Any of those steps, not having any one of those 3 key elements to this step, makes you an automatic disqualification for that. The second step is very basic. It's earning your EMT certifications. Now, an EMT stands for Emergency Medical Technician, and you have to acquire your certifications through the Emergency Medical Technician Association. And this is where you get that status of EMT. Some departments require it, some don't. Typically, volunteers do not require it. Volunteers are sort of exempt, but it does further you in getting a paid position. Most paid departments absolutely and 100% require it due to the high volume of medical calls, I would say. The third step in doing this would be optional. This is probably like the best step because it's optional. I know when I got hired, I didn't actually have a college education. And that was because when I got my position, I was only 18 years old when I initially got accepted to the fire academy. And a lot of why I got accepted was the fact that I was a legacy. So I'll just give you a little background on me right there. And in legacy, I mean my grandfather was a firefighter. He was a chief. My father was a firefighter. And in turn, I was a firefighter. Step 3, getting back on topic, Step 3 is the education. Typically what they look for in education is a degree in fire science or a background with paramedics or some sort of medical degree, because that makes you an asset to the department because you have that education. And not only in that, but with that education it helps you progress through ranks much faster and you get paid a lot better, let me tell you. You get paid substantially better. Step 4 is probably one of the more lengthy processes because this is where when you are being looked at for the position, you have to take an initial 2 exams, a written and a practical, and then you do an oral board, and that's where you sit there and you meet with the chief, you meet with the lieutenants, and you just kind of have a casual conversation. They feel out your mentality, they feel out your psyche to see if you're crazy or not, I suppose. With that being said, the prospective firefighters that do pass that first round of exams get put into what they call the qualified applicants pool. The qualified applicants who pass the first round of testing get to enter a training program, and this is where the applicants go through what is known as a CPAT test, and that test is the Candidate Physical Ability Test, and this is where you essentially go through the motions, the practical stuff, and make sure that you're physically capable of doing it. Step 4 is a very long process because you go through another round of testing at the end, and this is where there's 100 multiple choice questions on your written, and it covers everything from spatial awareness, reading comprehension, logic, memory, mechanical reasoning. It just really tests most of your cognitive abilities. And then after you do this, you are typically accepted to a program, a fire academy, where this is where the real fun begins. This is where you actually get to do evolutions, you get to go through training, you This is where I had my most fun going through the academy, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, when you go to the academy, it's classroom, practical. Classroom, practical. One day would be classroom, where you learn about everything that's fire related, such as firefighting, building codes, anti-arson techniques, hazmat, control and emergency procedures. As far as the length, your employer will typically determine how long it takes you in order to graduate from this. What am I looking for? Your employer will typically look for. Mine looked for 4 months, and we did 4 years of education in 4 months. Some it takes about a year. It can take 6 months. It really varies from department to department, from state to state. Now, after you go through all this training, they're hosted in a variety of ways. They're hosted at, sometimes they do in-house training at the firehouse you were hired at. Sometimes you have to go to state fire school for that. Sometimes, they send you to a rural organization. It really, again, it's another thing that varies department to department. And after you complete the fire academy, you take a final series of tests. And these tests are given and overseen by the National Fire Academy. With these guys, you take another 100-question multiple choice test, and you do another round of practical evolutions, 15 of them to be exact. With mine, I only remember 2 of my evolutions. One for my practicals. One of my evolutions was tying knots, and I was really good at that because I was a Boy Scout when I was a little boy. And the other evolution was throwing ladders, and that's making sure you're putting them up on buildings properly, you're carrying them properly. That way it just prevents people from getting hurt and injured. Upon completing all these tests and evaluations, you graduate. And honestly, who doesn't like the feeling of graduating? Everybody loves graduating. Everybody loves an accomplishment. Everybody loves feeling good about accomplishing a goal they've been working at for so long. Now, after you graduate, you actually become a firefighter. Like you are deemed a firefighter. You are certified. You actually receive this. This is my hazmat certification paperwork, and this is my Firefighter 1 certification. With this being said, I would just like to say that, in conclusion, these 5 steps are absolutely critical in becoming a firefighter. You have to be able to pass the prerequisites. You have to have your EMT certs depending on where you work. Level 3 was optional with your schooling and your level of education as far as college. 4 was your first round of testing and your second round of testing. And 5 was actually your entry and graduation from the fire academy. And upon completing all that, you walk with your certifications and you are dubbed a full-fledged firefighter. Now, this has been one of the best decisions of my life, and I honestly wouldn't change it for anything. Thank you very much, and I appreciate all of you for giving me your time.